There is a new city with the most expensive homes in the United States, and it is now in California. So in today's video, we're going to talk about this city, specifically the zip code with the most expensive median home values in the entire country. We'll take a look at some homes in the area as well, see what you can get for your money, and talk a little bit about this market. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ian Phillips. I'm a realtor in Orange County, California, and I talk about what's going on in the area, as well as the broader economy, talk about mortgage rates, and kind of just the overall impact on what's happening with real estate. So let's get straight into this video. So New California area ranks number one for the most expensive homes, and it is of course Newport Coast, which is in the city Newport Beach. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Newport Coast, 99% of all of these neighborhoods are gated, and majority of them are actually guard gated, or at least majority of the luxury homes. And the neighborhoods sort of range from $1 million condos, one bed, one bath, of course, all the way up to 60, 70, $80 million mansions that are double gated behind luxury areas like Crystal Cove. And in all honesty, it's one of the areas in California with some of the most beautiful homes, beautiful architecture, and we'll take a look at that as well later in the video. And something that is a little more unique about Newport Coast compared to other coastal beach cities is that it's a little more isolated. You don't really get as much sort of tourist foot traffic going through Newport Coast that you would in Laguna Beach. For example, Laguna Beach, you have a ton of traffic in summer. It does take you quite a lot of time to get in and out of the city. So for that reason, a lot of people don't like it. And people might say, well, Newport Coast is so isolated. You can't really walk to the beach. You can't really drive to the nearest supermarket. And that's kind of true. You don't really have a lot of those options. But that's potentially what makes it a little more appealing for these higher net worth buyers compared to other coastal beach cities nearby like Laguna Beach, Corona del Mar, Huntington Beach, San Clemente, etc. So we'll talk a little bit about the median home value and maybe why it's the most expensive area as well. So as of right now, it is $12.5 million for the median home value in Newport Coast. Now, it is technically part of Newport Beach, which is the overall city, but it does have its own zip code. So I do want to take a look at some of the homes that are in this area. As I mentioned, they did range. So right away, we have this $62 million mansion here, and you get incredible ocean views. This is a 20,000 square foot home, 7 bed, 13 bath, $62 million, incredible pool, 100-degree ocean view. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful home. And this is kind of the mansions that you get behind these double gated communities in Crystal Cove, Pelican Hill, that sort of thing. So if we scroll a little bit down, you can see it ranges 40 million, 50 million. This is the double gate communities I was talking about. Incredible ocean views. And that's another thing that sort of makes Newport Coast a little bit more unique compared to these other 50, 60, 70, $80 million neighborhoods that you get in LA. You don't really get this sort of ocean view in those neighborhoods. So again, that kind of gives it the premium. When you have, a 7,500 square foot home with the ocean view, that is definitely not something that you get in a lot of the country. Like this one, 9,000 square foot home, $24 million. A lot of this doesn't really exist in a lot of the state, and particularly a lot of the country. Yet in places like Miami, you do get this, which, by the way, a zip code in that area used to be number one for the median home value until Newport Coast took its place. So that is kind of what makes it a little more unique. Now, I did say you get lower priced condos, so let's filter this low to high, and we will scroll a little bit more out into Newport Coast. So here we go. $1.4 million in Newport Coast. Let's see what you get for this sort of entry-level condo here. So this is a 2 bed, 2 bath, 1,100 square foot condo. And this is kind of what you expect for this price point. Now, obviously in, 10-minute drive away, 15-minute drive away, for 1.4 million, you could get a single family home. But you don't have that exclusivity, that zip code that you're paying for to live in Newport Coast. So that's one example of an entry-level home. Here's another one, 20 Fee Camp. I actually showed this home to a client more recently, on the market for $2.6 million. And I do know this firsthand, that this is in a gated community, not guard gated, but it is gated. And that is kind of what you pay for as well in this area. Like I mentioned, 99% of the communities are gated, and the more exclusive, more luxury homes have a 24-hour guard outside the entrance, which you don't really get in a lot of the state. In some areas, maybe like Shady Canyon in Irvine, California, if you're familiar with that place, median home value is $9.5, $10 million. That is 24-hour guard gated. But again, all the homes are that price. You don't get $2.5 million detached homes in areas like that. So you do have a pretty large variety of homes in Newport Coast. Let's filter high to low, see what we have here. So that is the most expensive one on the market right now. And then we have the next one, which is $50 million, 10,700 square foot home. I mean, this is enormous. 3 stories, pool. Look at this ocean view. I mean, you don't get this in a lot of communities with a 10,000 square foot house. So that is definitely what has the higher net worth individuals that want a large home sort of flocking to Newport Coast because of all the views and safety that you get in this area. You basically have no break-ins, at least none that I've heard of in recent history, as everything is gated, specifically guard gated with homes like this. So that definitely draws a lot of individuals to look in neighborhoods like Newport Coast. And you can see, $40 million home, $30 million home, there's just so many of them. This one's actually pretty interesting. What does this one look like? So it has their own personal gate, and this will be within a gated community as well. And again, look at these views. Just incredible. I mean, look at this entrance into your backyard. You have a pool and you have a 100-degree ocean view. So few and far between with neighborhoods where you can get homes like this with the size. So let's briefly take a look at what's going on in the market in Newport Coast. Now, it is a balanced market right now. Month supply of inventory is 5.7. So yeah, balanced market. On average, homes are selling almost 5% below list price. Now, when you get into the higher end homes where the median list price is, $11 million, like that article said, $12.5 million, it's on average, homes definitely will sell below list price, because you have a lot of these sellers will list their home for whatever number they hope they can get it for. And then it's really just about finding the right buyer. If a buyer falls in love with this $30 million home that another buyer might think is $5 million overpriced, but for this particular buyer, remember, in this bracket of wealth, it might be the absolute perfect home for them and they're willing to pay for it. But majority of people might want to pay 5% below list price. So it's really about finding that perfect buyer for these kind of homes. Now, interestingly, the Newport Coast had a pretty significant correction in 2022, and since then has been massively outperforming Newport Beach, which is the city that Newport Coast is in. You can see this orange line here is Newport Beach, and it's kind of just been a steady increase, but Newport Coast has had a massive uptrend with prices going higher and higher and higher. Median days on market, 56 days before a home on average gets into escrow. And like I mentioned, that median list price, the article says $12.5 million. This is directly from the MLS, so it definitely fluctuates month over month. You can see in December, it was 13 million. In January, which is probably where this article got its information from, was $12.5 million. So with zip codes, neighborhoods where you don't have that many homes on the market, only 52 homes available for sale. If you get an $80 million home that hits the market, it's going to skyrocket that median list price, versus if you get maybe 10, $2.5, $3 million homes hit the market, obviously the median list price is going to drop. So in an area like this, the median list price does fluctuate, but you kind of just take a look at the average over the last year and a half, and you can see it's ranging from $16 million to $8 million. So kind of in that middle is where that $11.5, $12 million median list price is coming from. Buyer demand here has been pretty flat for the last, basically since October 2000, since November 2022. So demand, which is pending listings, has been pretty flat, but the median home value has continued to increase year over year during this period of time. And likely the issue that we're seeing is just not enough homes for sale. So in areas like this, you're really not going to get that many perfect homes hit the market. You're going to see some homes hit the market where it's just going to take the right buyer to look for that. Now, I do want to take a look at a couple more homes so you can kind of see a little more variety of what you get in this area. So this is probably an example of a home that does not have an ocean view, but is pretty large, 11,000 square feet. And my guess, I think I know this, yeah, this neighborhood does not, this home specifically will not have an ocean view, is my guess. Yeah, so a home like this, you're really paying for the square footage and the size of it. Yes, you don't have the ocean view, but it's a $17 million home with 11,000 square feet of living space on half an acre lot and fully remodeled, almost fully remodeled. So again, you do have the exclusive neighborhoods, you do have the option for incredible ocean views at a premium, you do have options for more entry level, like we mentioned earlier, where, you know, $1.5 million condo and $2.5 million, $3 million detached homes. So that is kind of Newport Coast as a whole. And I really wanted to just outline the demand for California in the higher net worth, higher wealth, higher median home value neighborhoods has been continuing to increase over the last few years. In my personal business, I'm a realtor here in Orange County. I've had a lot of people reaching out wanting to leave Los Angeles and move somewhere here in the $2 to $5 million price bracket, as based on what they've been telling me, crime is increasing in their neighborhood, and they really don't see the point in paying a high premium to live there if they're going to not get any, safety in return. And the other thing that has Orange County specifically outperforming everywhere in California, because it has, is safety and school system. Some of the school districts here are the best in the entire state, and 6 of the top 10 safest cities in the entire state of California are all located in Orange County. So an area where you have 99% of the communities gated, that is really going to be a huge factor for what makes people want to move here, start looking for homes, and make that decision to leave another part of California and move to an area like this. Obviously, we are entering an environment where not many people can afford a home, but at this caliber, this is going to not really be a factor for whether or not they want to make the purchase. At this caliber, the top 1%, this is where they are moving to. A lot of areas like this, where you have such a vast array of options for mansions, ocean view homes that you can move to. So that's kind of it for this video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more. If you're looking for an agent in Orange County, reach out. I'd love to chat, and I'll see you next time.